I think it's time for us to return to the Leeds Fashion Futures project, and let's talk about the two other strands that it's pulled people from across the city to work together on. And those two strands are valuing our clothes and, first up, skills and resources.
Primarily, it's about sustainability of clothing and textiles, and then the teaching strands that can come with that.
Dawn Wood is one of the people who's working on skills and resources. Like most of the people in the group, she brings years of experience of sewing and making.
There's a map that's been developed which shows resources around the city, whether it's something like Scrap Store or someone that runs workspaces or alteration spaces. Sustainable designers are being added to it now as well, textile banks, and what we can do to grow people's knowledge. So we put a little call out asking for people to do little videos of just basic sewing techniques, really. When you do practical things, you don't think that people actually don't really know how to thread a needle because it's just as natural as breathing.
Okay, so now we're going to look at attaching a coat button or a jacket button. Coat buttons and jacket buttons tend to be thicker than the buttons that you would use for your shirts and skirts.
We did a couple of little online talks about this and the kind of Facebook Lives, and then we did a kind of Q&A session, a bit like a gardener's question time a little while ago. It was a really fun thing to do, actually. It would be great to do a few more. Many of the questions are the same questions that are repeated, that people just don't know how to start something or do something, or the best machine to get, the best fabric to use for certain jobs, best threads. So it's all about that kind of knowledge bank, really, of pulling all those things together, which is a great resource to have.
But what about young people? Are they learning the skills? Jude Smallwood, a sewing teacher, says not, but she thinks if they did, it would be a win-win.
In my experience, in my teaching experience, I've been teaching about 14, 15 years now. They have limited skills in textiles, even the basics such as threading a hand sewing needle. They don't have that skill, and we can spend 3-4 weeks trying to get students to be able to thread a needle in year 7 when we did teach it, because they're not having any exposure to any of this at home. Their skills are very, very limited, and their actual physical sort of like fine motor skills, dexterity is very, very limited as well.
What happens sometimes when you give young people the skills and they suddenly see that they could make their own clothes or they could mend their own stuff and they can have more control over what they're wearing?
Oh, the impact on the students is massive. That ability to be able to create something using skills that you've been taught and using your own hands, and the fact that you can create something that nobody else has, because everybody stitches in a slightly different way, and that individuality and the pride on their faces when they have produced something, well, it's second to none. It really is that.